Dear Gerald Vernon Jackson, I just had a job interview at the Dutch version of the National Science Foundation. How do I explain that when I moved to Portsmouth, I became targeted by the good citizens of your town instantly with slogans written on the wall, arrows pointing to my name, locks getting picked, my postal mail being stolen, locks getting picked, animals getting attacked, vandalism in my flat, and downright persistent sabotage of everything I undertook. How do I explain that I lived without electricity, heating and hot water for so long? How do I explain that I was forced to live on food and coins that I picked up from the streets? How do I explain that you feel that this is normal for somebody with your level of education if she's a foreigner and female and, well, over 45? That must have played a role as well. How do I explain that in 2019, when I came home to vandalism in my flat again, let you know and asked a full professor at Wageningen University to contact you, that there had been vandalism again, and that when I finally got to talk with you, you didn't want to talk about the vandalism because you were too afraid that it was your good buddy Grant Murphy who was behind all this. He has indicated on 18 April 2023 that you and him were behind my ordeal in Portsmouth, but frankly, I'm not so sure that that's the case. How could you let me be stuck in a sadistic slavery situation for so long? Because that's what was going on. I had no income, I was living on stuff that I picked up from the street, and I had to hunt in Portsmouth for a computer that had not been hacked by whoever was doing this to me, which I found at Kingston Crescent at the U Trust, so that I could apply for benefits in 2016 because I was surviving on food that I picked up from the streets. How do I explain that? How do I explain that I had so little money that I couldn't leave the country? How do I explain that I had so little money that I couldn't make it here? Because it's very hard to go back to the Netherlands, which is very densely populated and very prosperous. There are no people that poor as I was in Portsmouth here. I can't explain that to people. It's utterly beyond their comprehension because that sort of stuff doesn't happen in the Netherlands. How do I explain that? How do I explain that I couldn't do a goddamn thing in Portsmouth for so long? How do I explain that you feel relentless sadistic abuse of people like me is acceptable? How do I explain that, Mr. Vernon Jackson? And how do I explain that you thought your good buddy Grant Murphy was behind it and therefore didn't want to talk about it? Because I think that's what was going on. Yes, he was behind a heck of a lot of stuff that went on, but I don't think he was behind all of it. I don't think that he was the one who was cutting into animals, because the stuff with the animals already started in Southsea long before I had anything to do with Grant Murphy. Or is he that crazy? Is he that unhinged? In that case, you should stay. In that case, you should take steps. I don't know how to explain to people in the Netherlands what happened to me. I sound like an utter complete loser, and I can't blame them because that's what it sounds like. I cannot explain what happened to me in England because it was crazy. It was completely, utterly, totally insane. Why wasn't I allowed to live in Portsmouth? Was it just Portsmouth insularity? Was it just that, the extreme insularity for which Portsmouth is known throughout the UK? What was it, Mr. Vernon Jackson? You're supposed to be a Lib Dem. You're supposed to stand for Lib Dem values. Then why aren't you standing for Lib Dem values in practice? And while we're talking about it, Steve Pitt, are you going to be the same? I used to know you when you still ran that pub. I used to have fun there. But you also emailed me one day and said that if people were bothering me, I should come and talk with you. Well, people were bothering me, but I had no idea what that had to do with you. You saw me change from somebody who was happy and outgoing and making her own living to a complete wreck because somebody was sabotaging me to death. Or half of Portsmouth was sabotaging me to death. Or Grant Murphy and Gerald Vernon Jackson were sabotaging me to death. I don't know, because I don't know who the fuck was doing that to me. How could you all let this happen? And how the hell do I explain what happened to people here in Holland, where I don't know anyone anymore? What the hell am I going to do with this? What the hell am I going to do with this? How can you let Portsmouth be such a vile, sadistic shit show of a place and judge this as perfectly okay? Was I really Portsmouth's version of Bijan Ebrahimi, who was killed and then set on fire in Bristol after having been tormented for so many years by the police, by the council, and by the people around him? Was I just like him? Are you okay with that, if that was the case? Are you okay with this? How do I explain to the Netherlands, to people in the Netherlands, that I was just a stupid kut Marokkaan in England? That your government says that we aren't educated and that we're liars and thieves? Because that played a role too, I'm sure. What the hell do I do with this? How do I explain this? Mr. Vernon Jackson, Steve Pitt, this is outrageous. It's insane. It's crazy what goes on in Portsmouth, what went on in Portsmouth in my life. And I cannot explain this to people in the Netherlands. I don't know what to do with it. It makes no sense whatsoever. I just wanted my life back. I wanted my goddamn life back. I wanted to be able to be allowed to make a living and live my life the way I've been allowed to live my life in any other place, except in Portsmouth. Steve Pitt, if you feel like talking every once in a while about the ethics aspects of your job, let me know. I'm sure you'll know where to find me. Portsmouth, whatever was going on there, it was very, 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 very wrong. I don't know who was doing this to me. I don't know who all the anonymous people were who made my life hell there. It was wrong. It was very, very wrong. And I don't know how to explain this to people in the Netherlands. I'm not going to make up that I was married to a guy who abused me and that I fled, because that's crazy, because I'm going to forget that that's what I said. I don't like making up stuff, because why would you want to make up stuff?